And now we're going to talk about this particular graph right here. So it talks about, if we look at the labels here, we've got age and years, and then this actually should say bone mass here. I don't know where the label went. I'm not entirely sure. But if we take a look at what's going on, when you're young, your bone mass is going to be less at 16, and then at 30, that's kind of when you max out, is about age 30. And then you can see here's age 30, and then we follow up. That really is the max. When we talk about bone mass, we're talking about cortical bone. And we include spongy in there too because that causes fractures. Okay. Now, I'm going to erase that line really quickly. So let's just talk about you. Okay, you are probably about 18-ish. Okay, so what should your bone mass be? Okay, so if you follow it up, if you are female, you're going to be in here. If you're a male, you're going to be right around in here. Now, and that has to do with hormones. So I am not talking about people transitioning. I'm just not bringing that up because I don't know what happens to their bone mass, to be completely honest. That's something we'll have to look up. But if we take a look now, okay, so I want you to look at this right here where it's, can you see the difference in the grays? This is called the fracture threshold. So up to age 40, if you break a bone, so at 24 or 30, something like that, that's because you put a lot of force on it. But after age 40, if you break a bone, that is your fracture threshold. That means it could be spongy bone that collapsed and has a sort of a compression fracture, or it could be because, yeah, you start losing bone mass at about age 40. So let's talk about what we're going to do here. I'm going to erase all that, okay? So our question here is, the fracture threshold is a theoretical level of total body calcium bone mass. Above this level, persons are less likely to break their bones. Below this level, persons are more likely to break their bones because their bones are weaker. All right, so let's go with patient number 1 right here. We've got a 64-year-old patient who has a bone mass of 863. So let's plot that. 64 years old, so right here, and then follow that up to 863, and we're going to be about right here. Okay, well, that's not in anything. This is either a fairly strong male or a really strong female. So what we would say, it's a 64-year-old patient. So the gender, I would say it's male. And is it above or below the fracture threshold? Way above the fracture threshold. So look at where the fracture threshold is. All right, so now here's what's going to happen. Okay, let's go on to a few more patients. And I'm going to want you to fill out this on your own. You are going to need to learn how to do this because it's going to be on your test. So let's take a look at patient A. 92 years old, 490. Okay. So 92 years old, 490. So let's go 92, and we're going to follow it up to 490. Okay, let's just face it, 92 years old and 490, that's really good, okay? Chances are we would say this patient is a male. So we would circle male right there. So now are they above or below the fracture threshold? Okay, well, why don't we have to worry about N? Well, because they're over 40. You only worry about the N if it's below 40 years old, okay? So are they above or below? Well, they're below the fracture threshold, but darn, they're doing really, really, really good. So I'm gonna put below. Well, I circled both there, but you know what I mean, below. Okay, so let's just pick a random one. Let's go 11,305. 11 years old. 11 years old. 305. I think that's going to be right there? I think so. Okay. So now, 305. Chances are, could this be a male? Absolutely. Okay, but I'm going to say it's female. Okay, or they are female, excuse me. And the fracture threshold is not a factor. Why? Because they are under 40 years old. Okay, so let's just give a for instance here. What if somebody is right here? Okay, so they're about 68, I don't know, 575. Is it a male or a female? Well, could it be a weak male, a male that didn't exercise a lot? Maybe a male that's overweight, maybe an alcoholic male. Absolutely. Could this be a female that is exercising, raking leaves, doing all the things, and running marathon? I don't know, running or exercising with her kids, her grandkids. Absolutely. So you can't really say for sure, but we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to get there. Okay. So now this is going to be a whole separate lesson on the Blaster Cluster wheel because that's kind of a lot.